My name is Ofelia Montelongo, and I'm a teacher assistant at Arizona State University, and I'm a proud Sun Devil. So, in today's video, I'm gonna tell you about my teacher objectives and all material that I use for my teaching portfolio. One of the objectives as a teacher is that all students are involved in class and participate and maximize their time in the classroom so they can talk as much as they can and they communicate with each other as much as they can. And to be able to do that, to be able for the students to become effective communicators, we had to allow them to engage in daily common situations. For example, one of the activities I have used is simulating going to a bookstore. By simulating activities like this, like role playing, what they do is they get to experiment how will it be in real life. Another activity, task-based activity that I liked for them to do together is activities where they can practice their writing or communication skills. For example, in this activity that you can see in the photo, the students were able to create a conversation, writing it and speaking it, and the 4 members of the team were able to participate and talk about it. And because sometimes in different teams, what happens is that only 1 or 2 people are able to participate, and the rest of them, they just do anything because they get on the side, right? But in this activity, they were able to actually all of them participate, write, and speak about the conversation that they were making. Another activity that I bring in my classroom is about describing each other's friends and family. As an instructor of Spanish 101, they always get encouraged to participate with each other. So one of these activities is that they get to look into their phone, one family member or a friend, and then what they did is that they created 2 circles and they moved in opposite ways. So I was in the center and I was playing some music, and when the music stopped, they were able to, they have a classmate in front of each other, and they were able to describe each other's family member or friend. So this is an activity that really worked because everyone was participating, speaking, and getting to know each other as classmates. Another activity in teams that I use as a warm-up as well is for them to create sentences with dices. I actually have I have a group of dices, and they get to play with them. And for example, if they get number 1, they get to use that de yo, tú, usted, él, ella. And then if they, depending on the other number, they get to use another verb. So they have different ideas in how to conjugate verbs, so they don't do the same thing over and over again. And they get to do it in teams, and they also get to go on the board, write their sentences, and talk about it with the class. So everyone got to participate. That's one of the things that I liked. I like about my classes is that I encourage students to go to the board and to write what they have. It's crucial for them to do that. And I do it in most of my class for one reason. The reason is that they can see that the thing that they're writing is not only for them, other people can see it and can participate in whatever they're writing, and they take it more seriously, because sometimes it's like, oh, no one is going to read this. Sometimes they just write whatever information, and sometimes it's not the best. So something that I encourage. Another thing I encourage is that after every chapter, we do a Kahoot. So that creates another team building activity, and they can get self participation points. Whoever wins and whoever is paying more attention in class. As for music and culture goes, before every class, what I like to do is present some type of music representing the country that we are. For example, chapter 1, it was Spain. Chapter 2, we have United States, Hispanics in the United States and Latinos. And then with the music, what I like to play sometimes is with songs. So they can fill up the blanks, and they get to listen, they get to develop that skill. And another thing I like to do with culture is that for them to share something about the country. So every chapter we create a Google Doc, and everyone gets to share something, a fun fact about that. So something that I like to do is share a fun fact of my own, and then create sentences with it. For example, my fun fact for Spain, it was from La Puerta de Alcalá. And then I share a video where I was dancing in my 20s. Yeah, that was me. I was a redhead or something like that. So with that, I share something on my own. I share something of what I do, or what I used to do, and then I create sentences so I can make examples for them, and so they can create sentences out of their fun facts that they find. So it's an activity that I include like grammar, and I include the cultural thing. So that's something I repeat in my chapters. So we create a Google Doc for those. And also for the cultural things, for example, I share information about Dia de los Muertos and Coco, and bring them Pan de Muerto for whenever it was November 2nd, to explain the tradition of it, which is, for me, it was really great. Everyone's really interested, something that really worked. And another thing that is super important for me is being a teacher outside the classroom. I create activities that they can help, like, for example, bringing writers where they can hear someone else, like speaking Spanish and having all their experiences with other people in the Spanish community. So it's not that only in their classroom they get to speak Spanish, they get to go and listen other events that I have organized this semester, for example. And I encourage them to go to the Entre Amigos sessions as well, where I interact with my students as well there, when we talk for an hour, as everyone say, from 3 to 4, and the sales department organizes this. So that's another opportunity to for me to communicate with my students, and to let them know that there's something outside, and there's something that you can practice more your Spanish, not only in the classroom. So another thing is that I met up with my students this semester. I did it, and we went over different aspects of the writing assignments, on anything that they have questions on. So for me, being a teacher outside the classroom is really important as well, to keep that communication. And things that I have learned about it, about my teaching, that I have learned and improved, is that, for example, my transitions, when I'm in a classroom, for example, a transition that I made was, for example, when I was talking about different accents, I showed them a video about Argentinian accent, Colombian accent, Mexican accent, etc. So, like, to tell them, how Spanish is different in different countries. And then with that, I connected, like, what accent do you like the most? And with that, we can I can go to an activity when we talk about, what do I like the most. So that was one case that I was trying to improve and learn about it. Also, is to create something more relevant for them in activities. For example, when we talk about university, I use an image from the book, but then I learned that it's better if I use something that is useful for them so they can relate to. Then I use the map of the ASU campus, so it's more relatable. And then another thing that I have been learning and applying is for what do we learn in class, and always have like a summary of what we did in class, so they are well assured that of what we did. And another thing that I have learned and improved is that to be able to put myself out there, and then so they can connect with the information, so they can connect something that is crucial for them to make connections, right? So for example, I showed the video of Spain, and I showed, for example, when we presented family, I presented my family, so I get also like the attention of my students is like, oh, okay, so this is your family, now they know a little bit more about me. And always getting that open that door so they can connect, we can connect as teachers and students, which is another crucial thing for me, is to create that connections, because every student is different, and everyone goes in different rhythms and levels. So that's something that I'm learning too as well, to not because they're all in Spanish 101, that means that everyone has the same level of Spanish. So that's another thing that I'm learning, and use myself as an example, which is a great thing to do. And that's all for myself, for my self-reflection video. Hasta luego. Bye bye.